Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining our PM Fastcast here again. I know Chris Roth kind of kicked this off yesterday. This is brand new to us, so bear with us because we control everything down here. Kind of an inside look at the newsroom and then kind of what we're working on for the day. Let me just, well, there you go. Here I am. There we go. So that's what you get for starting it off new. They tell me to go, so I just start talking because that's my human nature, but let me get this going here so that you can see me. Hi, Brittany Schmidt here with Action 2 News for your PM Fastcast. Thanks so much for joining us. Really, this is just kind of behind the scenes look at what we're working on for the day, what you'll see tonight coming up in newscasts and things like that. So let's get started right away. So yesterday, I know this video came up, but we're kind of looking more into it today, and this is about the wrong way driver in Fond du Lac. Let me play that video here for you and kind of talk over it a little bit as well and show you what I'm talking about. Let me get that audio up as well. Let me see if it's playing here. It doesn't seem like it wants to play. Good thing I have my IT guy standing by here. He'll come into here. We'll show you what we're working on here. So I'm looking at my video, trying to get it to play here for you. My IT guy standing off to the right. Don't we love when our IT guys are around when we're starting off with something new? It's still not working here. I'm gonna hand over the controls for this one. Okay, well, why don't we go to our website? I know maybe it'll play off our website. Let's try that. Let me try this here for you and try to play that video.
Fond du Lac County deputies releasing new video showing
Tammy talking there a little bit about what
driving
it
the
is.
wrong way on Highway 151. Deputies got reports of this wrong way driver northbound in the southbound lanes early Sunday morning. They tried to block the driver to get him to stop. The car hits the front of the squad car. The driver was arrested on suspicion of his third OWI along with other charges.
All right, so you heard Tammy there. You heard Tammy there talking about the wrong way driver on 151. Jason Zimmerman is looking into that more this afternoon as well. Just kind of a reminder, this person is arrested on suspicion of third OWI, and he'll talk a little bit more about that, but that happened on, excuse me, Sunday. So the next story we're kind of following today as well is, so Green Bay police are utilizing this new technique to kind of slow down drivers so they can get debris out of the roadway, whether it's a disabled car or a traffic cone or somebody lost a piece of lumber on their trailer. So I'll show you a little bit about what that looks like, and they kind of give an explanation as well here. So let me play that for you right now. Looks like that one's not going to play either. Got my IT guy trying to figure that out too. One second here while we try to figure it out. I can describe to you what the video looks like. But it's actually really cool to kind of see what they do as well. So let's try that eventually here as well. But really what the police car is going to do, so if you're driving down the highway and you see a police car kind of go past you, they're going to meet the same speed as you are, and they're going to kind of cut and kind of weave along.
The Green Bay Police Department is educating drivers about a traffic control tactic that our officers are being trained and utilized to address traffic hazards, especially during times of high traffic volume. This tactic is called a traffic brake. A traffic brake creates a safe zone that allows officers to safely resolve traffic hazards, including debris in the roadway, traffic crashes, and disabled vehicles. This is accomplished by the officer matching the speed of traffic, activating the emergency lights, and then weaving back and forth across all lanes of traffic. This allows the officer to gradually slow or stop traffic, allowing either themselves or another officer ahead to safely resolve the traffic hazard.
see he kind of pulls off.
If you see a traffic break taking place, please slow down and do not pass the officer. Thank you for assisting us with our ongoing efforts to increase traffic safety, and as always, drive safe, Green Bay.
All right, so there you saw a little bit of that video there where the cop car kind of comes in, slows down traffic, removes what they need to, and then they kind of move on their way. So the next story that we're kind of following today, and we've been following it since yesterday, I've actually been following it since October 24th, is the eye drops murder trial out of Waukesha County. We do have a verdict that came down within the last hour. I'm going to play a little bit of that video of the verdict. Remember, Jesse Kuchersky is charged with 3 counts. 3 felony counts. One is first-degree intentional murder for the death of Lynn Hernan. She's accused of poisoning her with eye drops put into a water bottle, supposedly 6 eye drop bottles into a water bottle. She's also accused of stealing tens of thousands of dollars from Lynn Hernan before her death, and then after she had died from her estate. The jury handed down their verdict this afternoon. So I'll play that here for you and kind of walk you through it.
I have confirmed there are 3 signed.
The judge there, Darrow, is
verdicts.
reading out the verdicts. The first one is first-degree intentional homicide.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Jesse R. Kershevsky, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide.
And there you hear her say that she is guilty of first-degree intentional homicide. She is also found guilty of the other 2 counts of theft. Now, first-degree intentional homicide carries a mandatory life in prison sentence, but sentencing will be on December 7th, and that's when the judge will decide whether parole will be allowed in this case. We do have reaction from the prosecution in this case coming up tonight, and then we also do hear from some friends of Lynn Hernan, the victim in this case, who talk about feeling like there's finally justice after 5 years after her death. So I'll come back out on camera. Again, thanks so much for joining us. This is our afternoon fastcast. We're still kind of working through some glitches and stuff. I've got my IT guy to the right of me. I got Chris Roth to the left of me because he did this yesterday. No, he didn't butcher it, but we're still kind of learning. We had some video issues, but we did a reboot at 1 o'clock today, and it kind of threw our stuff off, and we're learning that, well, if that happens, we got to reboot it again. So kind of moving on, Emily Byer is kind of following this story for us. Rick's Toy Box. You know, we've done stories with Rick's Toy Box many times. They make little toys and they send them. I think they sent them to children in Ukraine. Well, now they're going to be making toys and sending them to Israel. It's been more than a month since Hamas launched an unprecedented surprise attack on Israel, injuring 1,400 people, killing 1,400 people, injuring several thousands, including women and children, many without homes, especially going into the winter months. So a local synagogue and a nonprofit toy maker, Rick's Toy Shop, they have teamed up to offer some aid and hopefully a little bit of toys here. I'm going to show you some of that toy making process here as well, and I'll make sure to turn up the audio for you because you can hear a little bit of them working in it as well if we get to that. So those are some of the toys that they make out of wood. There you go. I'm not going to tell you what he's doing because he looks like he's just sanding down the edges a little bit to make them nice and don't get any splinters or anything. But they're also hoping to collect clothes, blankets, and more, hoping to send this first shipment this weekend. Again, like I said, Emily Byer caught up with them. She'll talk to Chris Roth at 4:30, give him a little bit more updates on it, and then how you can help. But her full story be tonight at 6. As I said, Rick has already sent toys to children in Ukraine for that ongoing war as well. All right, so we also have a few more stories coming up tonight. I don't know if you've already seen it, but DPI released their state report cards for the districts locally. Holly Brantley is going to be looking at that. I'm going to pull that up here on our website actually because it makes it a little bit more easier where I can show you exactly what I'm looking at. So these assessments are the first ones that will not include any time before the pandemic. So all of these scores are based on pandemic era school, what am I thinking of? School, like school year. So 2021, 2022, 2023. So they're looking at 4 main criteria: achievement, growth, target group outcomes, and on track and graduation. So if I scroll here down on our website, if you want to see how your school district did in your area, here are some of those local school districts and what they rated. In total, on our website, it found area schools are meeting or exceeding expectations. Again, Holly Brantley is going to look into this more for us tonight. Jumping over to the sports world for a little bit, pull up another story here on our website for you. So the Wisconsin Senate approves to help the Milwaukee Brewers Stadium. There's a bill there. The bill is bipartisan passage of historic legislation to maintain American Family Field. The Senate narrowly approved the plan to spend $500 million, which is a little less than they originally wanted, to help the Brewers repair the stadium over the next 3 decades. It would extend the Milwaukee Brewers lease at American Family Field to at least 2050, I believe. You can scroll down and read a little bit more about it. But this bill now heads to the Assembly before it heads to the Governor Tony Evers' desk. And we do know that Governor Tony Evers supports the plan. Okay, so enough of me trying to figure out what I'm doing here. There's Keith. He turned over. He knew I was going to be coming to him here soon. Let me pull up his mic here. Looks like I'm already up.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yes, it's been a very informative Fastcast, Brittany. Good to join you now.
Thanks. All right, Keith, I'll hand it over to you. Let me pull up your graphic here for you.
Yeah, real quick, I just want to update everybody on the next 24 hours here. Right now, we have breezy, warm conditions, partly cloudy skies, well into the 50s, and even a few low 60s out there right now. But I want to show you the next 24 hours here. We have the clouds that will be easing out of here tonight. Winds have been gusting 15 to 30 plus today. Those winds will be easing as we head on into the overnight, but it's still going to be a little bit breezy during the night. We will have a very nice day tomorrow with tons of sunshine, light wind. Temperatures getting down, or lows tonight, low to mid 40s, even some upper 30s. But tomorrow, a lot of sunshine up to around 60. I'm highlighting Wednesday as really the best day of the week as far as sun, lighter wind, and mild temperatures. So that's the next 24 hours, Brittany. We are still tracking some 60s on Thursday. Windy. Chance for a few showers, then we'll be cooling back down into the 40s. And I'm just still compiling our forecast for the 4 o'clock and the evening shows here. Still watching a potential system early next week, and folks will want to tune on in starting at 4 for updates on that.
All right, sounds good. Keith, we'll see you at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
All right. All right, so let's move on. We've got one more thing here that I want to tell you about, and I kind of want to bring in Brad's 3 brilliant minutes from last week, because CNN just put out another report about ticks, and we know ticks are scary, especially if we have dogs and stuff with Lyme's disease. He talked a little bit about the Asian longhorn tick that has now kind of widespread throughout the U.S. Let me show you this little creepy crawler. A nice big close-up there so you can really see it. So Brad talked a little bit about this as well last week. I'm going to play a little portion of that for you too, just because he explains it much better. But this is basically an invasive species, and researchers say that it's responsible for killing 3 cows in Ohio by basically killing it with tens of thousands of bites. So let me cut that over for you and play that as well. Okay, I know you can't hear audio. Let me see if I can figure this out. So this is going to be for the Mac Mini. Oh. Hold on. Let me replay this for you. Man, there are so many things to figure out. There.
Found, or I should say originally
there we go.
found
Now
in New Jersey only in
IT
27.
guy works. There he goes. He starts it out. He can read my mind. All right, we're going to start this over for you here. Let me just hit play once more.
8 minutes.
Oh, man.
Sponsored by
Thanks for
Sinclair
sticking with
Heating and
us through
Cooling
all of
for
these growing
24/7
pains.
comfort
I promise
on
it'll
call.
seem a little bit more seamless as we move forward.
This day isn't 3 scary minutes.
You know, we've had a lot of stories about
I don't like ticks.
Okay. This is not.
Snakes, spiders, mice, ticks, no.
Yeah, well, this is a story about ticks. It's a new invasive species, and there's some, lack of a better word, scary things related to this tick. So here comes the story. It comes from Ohio State University. An exotic tick that can kill cattle is spreading across Ohio.
Is it a big?
Well, let's find out the details. Here it is. This, is, of course, is greatly magnified, but it is the Asian longhorned tick, okay? So it originated in East Asia. It was most recently found, or I should say originally found, in New Jersey only in 2017. So we're 6 years past the first finding, okay? They were reported in West Virginia in 2019, and now they're in Ohio. So they're obviously spreading. Not in Wisconsin yet, thankfully, but fingers crossed, right? Here's a little bit more about them. There's no getting rid of them, says the assistant professor of veterinary preventive medicine at Ohio State. And here's the problem, Jeff. They reproduce asexually. In other words, they don't need a mate. Every female can just lay eggs on her own, 2,000 at a time, multiple times throughout their lifetime. And that's why when they went to this farm to do this research, they estimated they collected 10,000 ticks in 25 minutes. It becomes, you know, exponential growth. They were found in such huge numbers that their feeding frenzy on the southeastern Ohio farm left 3 cattle dead of what researchers believe was severe blood loss.
So the cows were just full of these ticks.
Correct. So that's the problem. Now they can carry some disease that mainly would affect cattle, but this was not in that instance. In fact, that disease is not even found here in the United States, only in Asia, but they can carry that disease, okay? But this was just a matter of them sucking the blood out of the 3 cattle. Now, here's what can be done, okay? Fortunately, most tick control pesticides, if you will work against them, but they like to live in long grass, and the grass would have to be coated. So that's going to be difficult. For right now, they think the best solution is to monitor cattle that are going to be especially transported, make sure that they've been treated with an anti-parasitic agent before the cattle are moved. But it's a scary thing. And in fact, after I did this story, I went to dig a little bit deeper, and I went to the website of the USDA, and you can see where this thing is actually spread all the way down through the Carolinas, a few cases there in Georgia, Kentucky,
over to
Tennessee.
Missouri?
Yep, so far, even Indiana has a case or 2 down there. So it is spreading, okay? And there's one other picture I wanted to share with you, this also from the USDA. Look at how tiny they are. They're like a sesame seed before they're full of blood. When they're full of blood, when they're gorged, they're about the size of a pea. But again, I'm sure we're going to be hearing more about this Asian longhorn tick because they're here to stay.
Oh, all right, Brad.
Okay.
Thanks.
That is exactly how I feel as well, Jeff, learning a little bit more about these. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about what you'll see here coming up tonight on Action 2 News later in our shows. Here's what's on our menu tonight. So at 4 o'clock, you'll see Reality Store at Kimberly High School. This is a story about how Kimberly High School basically has this little store that they're teaching kids about economics and life. Samantha Cavalli will have more on that tonight at 4. Then at 4:30, Chris Roth digs into a national climate assessment with UW Extension. Then at 5 o'clock, Hearts of Maui. That's about a man who sent over about 1,500 glass worry hearts to survivors of the devastating fire there. And we'll learn a little bit more about his reasoning behind it and what it truly means to the survivors. And then at 6, like we talked about before, the DPI report cards, what that kind of means locally, digging a little bit more into those as well. So that's really what we have for you today. Thanks for sticking around and joining this mess a little bit. I'm not going to call it a disaster because we're still kind of learning and stuff, but I do want Jordan to come on camera. Come on. Well, we'll get him on camera at some point, but he helped us through some of those technical glitches today. But We'll see you again tomorrow at 2:30. Chris and I will kind of be switching off throughout the week depending on our responsibilities for the day and what stories we are following up on. But otherwise, we'll see you today at 4 p.m. Have a good one.